Hey guys, and welcome back to Narcissus. So let's just jump right back in. After all, it was right next to the hospital, so this place should have the meds we needed. Thank you for waiting. Here we are. The pharmacist had come back after a short time, and I had almost forgotten that the pharmacist was actually a guy, not a girl. He was holding two plastic bags, each of them full of medication bottles. With that amount, we'd be fine for now. That would probably last her a week or so. And when I took out my wallet from my pocket, "Oh, may I see your prescription?" Prescription? Yes, as these are prescription medications. Uh, your doctor did give you one, yes? I'd forgotten about this. These were no ordinary medications, so I couldn't just waltz in and buy them. Is something the matter? Oh, well, I stammered and stuttered. The pharmacist looked on with suspicion. Wait, that's... And then he noticed the white ID bracelet on my wrist, the letters inscribed on it. My name, my blood type, and the name of the hospital. Oh! The medications that he'd left on the counter, I swiped them up all at once. Hey, stop right there! He shouted at me from across the counter, but that was to my back. I'd already started sprinting. Only 5 meters to the door. My legs were weak, I was wobbly, but I kept running nonetheless. And when I was about to sprint out of the slowly opening door of the pharmacy, just then... Oh, darn! Or, not darn. Damn! I was trying to say darn and damn at the same time. Ah! My senses whited out for a second. I'd hit my head on the edge of the automatic door so hard that apparently the glass of the door had shattered. Dizzy, almost syncopal, I forced open the half-closed door with my hands. And then I broke off into a dead sprint. I did not once let those medications go. I was so out of breath that I felt like fainting. Only a few more meters to the car, but it felt like much longer. Nobody was giving chase to me, it seemed, but I didn't have the time to be looking behind me anyway. Because if I got caught, then what would happen to her? Would she wait for my return forever alone in that car? I ran for dear life with those feelings in heart. Staggering, short of breath, saddened that this was all the strength I had. I collapsed in the driver's seat and floored the pedals. I was forced to realize that I was even weaker than I was at the pachinko parlor. And when I checked myself in the rearview mirror, there was blood on my forehead, maybe from a glass shard. Well, hopefully the bleeding would stop soon enough. I applied pressure with the tissue as I drove. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. But you're bleeding. Don't worry about it, it's nothing. I waved my hand to her to tell her not to worry as she looked at me with concern. And then I handed over the medications that I had tightly clutched in my left hand. Here, take your meds. Oh, okay. For now, we should be fine. Those meds would last for maybe a week. But what were we going to do when that ran out? I'd managed to get by pretty well today, but it was obvious that I was losing strength daily. We originally had no plan or destination, and you could not feel any fear of losing something you did not already have. But things were a little different now. A purpose had been born, and so a fear of losing that purpose had also been born. January 29th. A painfully clear day. The empty expanses of the cannot talk right now, of the high heavens of winter above us. Back on the expressway. By now, we had passed the Suita Junction onto the Hiroshima Road. Where are we going next? From the Kobe Junction. Got it. To the Sanyo Expressway. Yeah. The silver coupe, moving according to her navigation. By now, on the roadside distance indicators, every so often the words Awaji Island were appearing. We had already come 900 kilometers since we'd escaped from 7th floor that day. I'd never have believed that we would have made it. But our final destination was not far from us now, and soon we could see a large bridge ahead of us. So this is the Kaikyo Bridge? Pretty incredible, huh? Yeah. It was hard to suppress a triumphant feeling, as if we could drive across the ocean on its expanse. After we'd driven along for a while, there were people stopped at the roadside here and there, en route to the bridge. Probably tourists or something, seeing as they were taking pictures and stuff. And just like those people, I stopped the car on the shoulder of the road. It's forbidden to stop here. If it's just for a little while, it'll be okay. And as far as the eye could see, there were other cars that had done the same. Hey, come on, let's get some fresh air. It's probably an awesome view. Very well. She was still a little reluctant, but she got out of the car with me anyway. In the midst of the strong cold winds atop the bridge. This is colder than I thought it would be. Yeah. It was all too much for us, since we'd never really gotten out of the car. And in stark contrast to us, there were two people who seemed to be a couple not far from us. Looked like they were taking souvenir photos. Their happy voices carried all the way over to us. And when I looked around those two, I saw lots of families and tourist groups taking photos too. Souvenir photos, huh? Fair enough. One was supposed to take them at places like this. Come to think of it. Is something the matter? Yeah, wait for a second. Oh, okay. There was a camera in here somewhere. When I'd inspected the car interior the first time around, I saw a cheap disposable camera somewhere, I remembered. It still had a few shots left in it, if memory served. Having found the camera, I checked the film indicator. Oh, good. Still 2 shots left. Sorry for the wait. Come on, I'll take a picture of you. What? A photo. Might as well, you know? No. Oh, come on, don't be like that. Strike a pose or something. And I held up the camera towards her as I said this. Come on, look a little happy, won't you? But if she were embarrassed, even when she turned to me, she's had a little sour look on her face and nothing more. But it could well have been that even if she looked this way, she was trying her best to smile for me right now. With this at heart, I was about to take a picture of her when... Excuse me, could we ask you to take a picture? Oh, yeah, of course. 2 people who looked like a couple coming towards us holding a camera. Then I'll take the picture now. Please do! They stood close to each other happily and flashed brilliant smiles. I centered those 2 in the viewfinder and snapped a photo. Thank you very much. And now we'll take a picture of you 2. Oh, no, You're using this camera, right? Before I could answer, he'd taken my camera. No, it was more like he'd plucked it out of my hand. Probably wanted to get it over with as soon as possible, which is why he took the camera and ignored our hesitation. Alright, you 2, get closer. At those words, I stepped a little closer to her body, and with her usual lack of expression, she helplessly stepped a little closer to me. Shouldn't you be posing a bit more? This meddlesome boyfriend character and his crazy demands, his girlfriend standing to the side looking a little apologetic, and telling myself that I had no other choice. I slowly put my arm around her shoulder. Oh, the first time I'd ever touched her. The feeling of her childlike clothing and her waist-length hair under my hand. I couldn't see her face now that I was looking straight at the camera, but maybe, just maybe, she was she was gracing me with that never-before-seen, shy, bashful, slightly sour look. Okay, I'm taking the picture now. Their business over, the couple started heading back to their car, and we were doing the same. My girlfriend, huh? Pretty bad misunderstanding, eh? Or could it be that we looked that way to others? My words spoken lightly and in jest. And enjoying myself for some reason, I kept speaking to her in that tone. What do you... Sesame, what do you think? What's with that? You're younger than me. And with those words, as usual, she turned back to look at the window. And just as usual, I couldn't see what kind of facial expression she was wearing, but I could tell that she wasn't looking far into the distance. She was turning away because I was making her bashful. The spacious sky above our heads, spreading out into the distance with wintry clarity. Arrival at the Sumoto interchange, not far from that bridge, exiting off the expressway back onto the normal highways. So we finally made it. Yeah. The odometer indicated that we'd come over 900 kilometers ever since the day we'd escaped from 7th floor. We'd arrived at last at a destination that we hadn't even cared about at the onset. Then where do we go from here? South. South, got it. I took the route as per her instructions. But in truth, even I knew where to go at this point. I could see the sign of the Tourist Information Center from here. But without a second thought, I obeyed her navigational instructions. That was the way it had to be, and it could not be any other way. How is it that I came to think that way? Alright, so we made it to the island, and now we are at Chapter 7, Narcissus. Around when the day was slowly being dyed orange, a sandy beach in winter, nobody in it, pine groves swaying in the cold winter wind. I stopped the car at this beach and turned over the driver's seat to her. Can your feet reach the clutch pedal? It's fine. Okay. Now the gears from neutral to second. I know. Okay. Now do as you will. Okay. She stretched out with all her might to step on the clutch and grasped at the steering wheel with concentration. I leaned forward in my seat, instructing her as best I could. Good. Now gently let up on the clutch. Okay. And then, all nervous, she... Whoa! Just as I had expected, the engine started to knock horribly. Okay, next time let up on the clutch a little more gently. Okay. She did say this confidently enough, but she really didn't have any skill at all. She was trying so hard that she was even pursing her lips. But I couldn't help but feel that it was really charming, because usually she had no expression at all on her face. Hey, you almost look like you're hungover. I know. The silver coupe, now quite noisy, courtesy to the crack in its muffler, almost like a song of lamentation arising from the beach that had no one on it. Around when the sunset had faded away into nightfall, around when the sea breeze had changed into a land breeze, before we knew it, the enormous moon had risen in the night sky. It looks like you've more or less gotten the hang of it. Yeah. Along with this reply, she smoothly shifted into third gear. Her foot on the clutch was smooth and sure, and she had free run of the entire narrow, sandy beach. If you can do this, then you'd probably be able to get a license even without going to driver's school. Really? Well, take what I say with a grain of salt. After all, I'm not a certified instructor or anything. It wasn't as if we were planning on getting her a license at this late hour. We both knew that. We had a map, we had our meds, and though it had a broken muffler, we had the silver coupe. But we had no time. We had no future. And because I knew this, it was all the more painful to me. Well then, I'll give you mine instead. Saying this, I took out my own license from my pocket. This was the license I thought I'd never use. The proof of a normal world that I thought I'd already lost. Here, as a substitute for your license. Even if I take it, it seems I won't have the time to use it. Oh, go ahead and take it. After all, I'm in the same boat. 7th floor, which no one had ever left alive. High ceilings, windows that only opened 15 centimeters, white ID bracelets. The third time was the end. She was on her second time, I was on my first. So here, congratulations, you're a license holder. Okay, thank you. With a tiny bow, she received the license from me. Now, she was a certified driver as well. She could drive any car she wanted and go anywhere, not just on a coupe, but on a sedan, or even on a convertible. I was sure that a girl like her would find places to love no matter where she went. After we'd driven around for a bit more, we arrived at our destination, the place where the Narcissus bloomed. This was supposed to be a tourist attraction, but whether it was because it was so distant, or whether it was because it was night, there was no one around. And underneath the pitch-black curtain of night, we were waiting in the car for dawn to come. Say, shouldn't we turn on a light? No, because it looks like the battery's almost gone. Yeah, that's true. Totally dark cabin. The motor turned off. Only the dim panel lights to reflect our same profiles. Not a single word exchanged as we waited for dawn inside this car devoid of any other light or sound. And the pile of clothing to be washed in the back seat. Thick jeans and sweaters and a few hand towels. We had grabbed a bunch of those things and spread them on top of ourselves, since we had no blankets. It's cold, huh? Yeah. You can come closer if you want. What? It's okay, so come on over. I looked at her shivering in the passenger seat and offered her an empty lap. It'll probably be warmer this way. Not really, I'm fine. She was shivering even as she said this. Our breaths were frosting. She was obviously bluffing. Or is it that you want to come over because you're cold? Well, that's fine too. Very well then. She squirmed over to where I was, and then diffidently curled up on my lap. See? It's a little warmer this way, right? Yeah. The windshield, frosting over from the cold outside air. We could now see nothing past its white, icy overlay. But it would be dawn soon enough, and when the time came, she'd see white flowers spreading to one side of us. Gradually, night gave way to dawn. The rising sun rendered the purple sky and then white. And along with the dawn, so many white flowers spread themselves out before us. Radiant whites and yellows appearing where there had only been darkness before. Before we knew it, we'd come out of the car and were staring at the scenery. It's incredible! Yeah. A countless number of narcissi, spreading out as far as the eye could see. The virgin white of the flowers amplified by the morning dew, descending like a carpet that led into the ocean itself. And in the midst of our exchange of words, and our breaths frosting white in the chilly air, we'd come a long way since that day that we saw these same flowers on that boring TV. We'd come all this way, despite the fact that we'd had no plan or destination. These are exactly the ones. How nice, huh? Yeah, identical to the very least, or to the very last. And that is all the time that I have today for this episode, guys. So if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. And I am so sorry for any background noise that you may have heard in the last part of this video. Yeah, so sorry. Not my fault, and I cannot help that. So, there we go. And I will see you guys in the next video. So, bye-bye!